Ian Boushel.
Just sit here.
How you doing, man?
Doing good. Good. How you guys doing?
I'm
Good, brother. It's good to have you here, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. I've been trying to do this for a long time now. So
Yeah. You're finally
time.
on the. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple questions, man. Tell me about. You're currently living in Montreal,
I am.
and for it's been how many years now?
It's been almost 4 years. 4 years in July.
Wow, 4 years. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
almost half a decade.
How would you, from your personal experience living in Montreal, because obviously Montreal is known as the city for, for like music, right, in a way. So how was your experience so far with like music?
Well, I guess my timing was a little off because I moved there in 2019, and the first 8 months was really cool.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Oh.
So I think as I started to explore a bit more and see what was going on, everything got shut down right away.
Yeah.
But what I have been able to see is just, this is such a big scene. There's a lot of funding. There's a lot like international scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of artists coming from abroad. The venues too. A lot of theaters, like 2,000, 3,000 like capacity. Sort of intermediate venues. It's not a stadium. It's not an arena.
Right.
But it's not a 200-person bar.
Right. More so like almost like the Barrymore's or like Bronson Center style. Like just host a bit of bigger show. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have artists that come in that will have bigger crowd, but it's not a Canadian Tire Center or the Bell Center kind of artist. But I think music scenes are music scenes too. Like there's a lot of similarities between Ottawa and Montreal. Just I think one of the big differences really is just the size of venues, and that brings in promoters, and that brings in just a different sort of level. Mm-hmm. And it's also not the same money, right? 2,000 people, 200 people. It's more of a business. We have more like promoting companies and.
Yeah. Whereas like here, there's obviously a big support for the Ottawa music scene, but it's just like more so focused on who really likes the music scene and is involved, as opposed to like, it's kind of attracting more of the masses based on promotional things, I guess, and like you said, hosting size and stuff like that. And
yeah, I think the history too. I think there's a lot of history with music. There's like lots of big bands have come out of there.
In Montreal, yeah. Like Sam Roberts, for instance.
Yeah. I didn't even know he was from Montreal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, unless I'm
really
sure. No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's Montreal, because I remember reading or hearing about some type of thing where he was about to quit, basically. Like he was about to be like, "Hey, fuck this! Like I'm done. I'm gonna do some other career path." And then he just stuck with it a tiny bit longer, and boom, broke out. That's what the story is. I don't know if it's true. I'd have to fact check that for sure, but that's what I heard. So
I feel like that's often the case too, right? It's just you have to stick it out. You can quit right before you get there and not even know you're about to go big or about to stumble across something new, and that just hanging on for a little bit longer.
So tell us about the Gravelines and basically how did you end up starting the Gravelines? Because I know obviously for anybody who's listening on YouTube as well as audio, Ian is a guitarist, right? You're the guitarist, front man, kind of in a way.
Yeah, Connor's definitely the front man.
Yeah,
I guess we're all.
Yeah, you guys are all the front men. You guys make the band basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Max is in the back, but.
Yeah, it's a 3-piece power trio for sure.
Yeah.
Tell us about the kind of style of music, the direction that you wanted to develop, and how you even started that band and fit initially.
I mean, just to begin with was I guess Connor and Max had been trying to start a project, because Max was your drummer before, right? And
back
Blast
in the day,
the Sun.
Yeah. There's the history.
Yeah. We're all connected, eh?
That's it.
But and I guess they were trying to start a project, and there was a few people in and out, and I hadn't seen Connor in probably 6 years or so, and he started going to Cégep at Heritage College when I was there, and we sort of ran into each other, and he was like, "Oh, you still play guitar?" I was like, "Yeah." Do you want to play guitar in our band? Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like that?
Yeah, and then we practiced with Gunner and stuff.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I guess I practiced with Connor and Gunner before Connor was with Max. Anyway, there's moving parts there.
Mm-hmm.
But sweet.
But yeah, I just went over a few rehearsals, and I guess Connor had been offered a show at a bar in Ottawa from one of his previous projects, and it's the offer still stands. So we went in. I guess 6 months after we started rehearsing, got our first gig. Played with.
Nice. Which bar was it?
I'm trying to remember.
Maybe
the name.
Rainbow or something like that.
No, it was on Elgin, further down, across from the Whalebone or something like
Oh,
that.
the Whale's Bone, yeah.
So across from that, there was a bar upstairs.
Wait, live on Elgin?
No.
Because that's across from Whale's Bone upstairs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Unless there was something else at the time. I
No,
don't know.
there was.
Oh.
It was like Maxwell's or like.
Yeah, I think I know exactly what you're
no,
talking
it's
about.
not Maxwell's.
I
But
played there. And
Yeah.
it was the venue having music was short lived.
yeah, it ended up closing down 2 years after or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Very
I think I
quickly
played
after.
at that spot,
Yeah.
and you guys came to see me, or you
Yeah,
did anyway.
yeah. Totally.
Yeah. And then
yeah.
but it was like right after I finished tree planting.
Yeah.
I played
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I
So this
played
is
there.
like a while ago then, too.
It was like
Yeah, this is-
2015
Okay, yeah,
for me
Yeah.
when you came to see
Yeah.
me. So
I
it
think we
would
played
have been
in 2014.
yeah, it wouldn't have been that far apart. Yeah.
And it's funny because we actually played our first show with Leanie Jones. Well, Colleen.
Mhm.
She had a project, the Latchkey Kids.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
I remember
God.
that
No,
shit.
no,
Oh,
is it
yeah,
Latchkey
yeah.
Oh
Kids?
my
Is it
god!
Latchkey
Yeah,
Kids?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Latchkey
you're right,
Kids, like,
yeah.
dude, that rings a bell.
I remember that.
So
I
intensely
forget
to
the
my name.
name of the cafe, but there was one where Leanie worked, and it was like a cafe with like local pastries and like
Art
coffee
House?
and stuff. Yeah, no, it
No,
wasn't Art House. It was
it's-
more in Byward Market.
It's
and
Byward Market.
Yeah, and we
it's
had
the tea
jams
house.
there. Yeah, it was the tea house.
Yeah.
Yo, that
Yeah, 'cause
place
I
was
went to-
sick.
I've jammed
actually.
there before, and
Yeah,
I
they had
saw
like one
Leanie there.
speaker and like.
Yeah. I've jammed
Yo,
there countless times.
Speaking
Yeah.
of which, while we're on the subject, for everybody listening and watching, I guess we're gonna be having a show January 20th at Live on Elgin. So January 20th of the new year, 2023,
Yep.
with Leanie Jones opening up, the Gravelines playing, and then Jakur and myself. Jakur's guy's stage name, JHC is my stage name. But yeah, we're gonna be playing like a kind of hip hop duo collab. We're gonna have Gravelines out. Leanie Jones is gonna be sick. Like. So yeah, we'll
Yeah,
keep you
so
guys
everybody's
promoted
listening
on
is
that.
local.
Updated.
We're gonna be.
I thought it was
be
pretty
jamming
cool too. Cause we've been on informal hiatus since COVID happened, just living in different cities and everything. We weren't playing as much music together, and it's just kind of I feel kind of fitting that this is our first show back since our last show was December 23rd, 2019.
Holy crap!
So this is almost like our first show again, you know.
Yeah.
That's
and it's
awesome.
with
It's been a
and it's
minute.
with Colleen, who our first show was with her and the Latchkey Kids. Our first bigger show than that was in Pembroke with Sparkle Source, so with Colleen as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So to start again, this like new page.
That's hilarious.
I think in the Gravelines chapter too, like there's a new chapter in the story of the Gravelines.
Yeah,
Because
'cause
this time we've had apart.
Absolutely, because speaking of which, like we won't reveal too much, but like we've got some songs in the works right now for Gravelines, like some new material recorded right now, and dude, some of your solo licks are so fucking just like what was the word I was looking for? Like not enchanting, but entrancing, I guess. Yeah, especially that new one we added on Paradise.
Yeah,
Don't-
that was a good session. That was
Yeah,
a good
man.
session.
Yeah, the music's sounding pretty pristine. I think you did a pretty good job at just like recording from the basis of what it was.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's better than good job, I'd say, especially with
Yeah.
the mix that you're pulling
Yeah.
through with that.
Nah.
Definitely
So that
sounds
was
good,
our-
man. Definitely sounds
yeah.
good.
That was our first time
Yeah.
really working together for recording with you.
Yeah, I'd say like
And-
full session style
Yeah.
shit, and like what I'm really looking forward to though is like hearing them live. Like actually,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I don't think you guys have performed those songs
No,
before,
no,
right?
no,
Like,
never. We wrote them at the cottage.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that
nice.
actually. Like, what was the process for? Well, because you were there, right? What was the
Yeah,
process
I
like?
think-
What was like the process for A, writing it, and then B, also like recording it? Like, where did you guys go and what did you do?
I think the emphasis was more on the recording than the actual writing process. Kind of funny to say, because we hadn't played music together in a long time, and Max invited up to the cottage, to a family cottage,
Yeah.
for a few days in January last winter.
and that was before we recorded, right?
That was when we recorded.
Oh, okay. You didn't go up for a prior session.
No.
for
So
that.
we, we had no prior session. I think Max and Connor had gone over a bit of music, but I sort of came in blind, being like, well, I had a few of my own ideas. Connor had some ideas too, and just sort of see where the weekend goes. And I think it was just the environment too. Was really like the sound in the cottage just sounded really good. The environment too, like it was like
Or in the bush?
beautiful winter, like tons of fluffy snow, like.
Yeah, it was kind of
days.
like cold outside, and we'd
Yeah.
go and we'd smoke a couple dudes and then come back in, and
Yeah.
the heat sets in, and it's like you smell the wood, and like
Yeah.
plus just all the wood framing and everything being so porous, like I think just like really added like a lot of dampening to it, because it really
Definitely.
sounded like nice and quiet, and like really plus there's a lot of furniture and rugs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but it was just like a perfect like studio setup
Yeah,
style.
it
Like,
really was.
like, have you ever heard of La Studio in Montreal? It like ended up burning down, I believe, like way back. But that's where
wow,
like
I've never heard of
that's where like Russian shit like recorded a bunch of stuff.
No
And it's
way.
like it was like in the middle of the I think past Montreal. I don't want to get like misquoted on that, but it's somewhere in Quebec. And it was like out in the woods. It was just called La Studio, and they had like a crazy like cabin style recording, and it reminded me of that. Like it was just very naturally like good sound. The environment adds to the vibe, you know.
Cabin in the Clearing, bro.
Cabin in the Clearing, yo,
That's it,
legit, yeah, legit.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it was.
Yeah,
That's sick.
but
That's sick.
yeah. And sorry, so you were saying like we were, I guess like what was the process leading
Well, yeah,
up?
and then the process, I guess, was we had one song that we already had written prior, I guess 3 or 4 years before, and we've been playing it live and everything. We wanted to really record it and sort of finish fine tuning it. 'Cause you can fine tune for forever. You can go for years and years of tweaking things, and just wanted to get it done. And then the other two were two that Connor had been working on that we basically sat down that day and wrote the songs just beginning to end. He already had his vocals or his lyrics, but guitar anyway, it was all just sort of on the spot. Just sort of threw it together. I'm very happy with
Wait,
how
so you're saying that the songs that I've heard, I guess, are new in a way? Like you
Yeah.
guys wrote them like that weekend?
Oh
Yeah, we
yeah,
wrote them that
yeah.
day. I wrote them in
shit.
Like we created,
no
I
way.
guess we
It was
created it on
like
the
the
fly.
like
Like,
3
like
hours,
the
2
song with the
hours.
lyrics that fly like an eagle or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Shit.
Connor
Yeah.
had written the the skeleton, the structure.
Yeah,
of the
this
song.
yeah.
it was like
That's
you
dope.
guys kind of like, I guess, they all took like, you guys all took your ideas and almost just kind of like put it into fruition as you were recording. Because I remember like doing a couple recordings first, and then you were like, oh yeah, the one part, no, talking back and forth, and then it was like, okay, start over, and then it was like, that's the take,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, being like, oh, you know what? Maybe we'll just change that a little bit. Just throw this part instead. I'll just take that out. Yeah, fine tuning.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, it was pretty fun too to just sort of. I think if you overthink as you're writing a song, especially if it's over a long period of time, you can just go over it and over and over it. But if you have a bit of a time crunch where it's like, well, we're here to record and we have 2 days and we have to write the songs and we have to record them, you're sort of just. I don't know, it's easier to choose. Maybe not easier, but you choose and then that's it.
Yeah,
It's
you're more
settled.
you're more conscious of like, okay, I shouldn't like go into the rabbit hole of
Yeah,
like,
you don't.
Oh, yeah.
overthinking
Exactly.
everything and just like fuck it, let's just have fun and let's just the music
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That can be liberating in a way too as
Really, I
well.
think
yeah.
it is.
that's it. And there's a big balance there though, and I actually really like you bring that up because it applies in a couple ways. Like, because Connor and I talked about it after, how it's like he's glad he didn't rush the process necessarily, in the sense that we could take time and record more vocals after and a couple more guitar layers like we did.
Yeah.
And even Joe playing Joe Pacquiao featuring on on one of the songs on keys.
Yeah, big
and
shout
like
out to Joe.
yeah, and like if we hadn't done that, it wouldn't have had that same essence of the song. But at the same time, if we had it just kept going, and Connor and I talked about that too, it was like, okay, if you keep obsessing though, and you put, like you said, you don't time crunch yourself a little bit, then you're not going to get like any result. You're just going to keep kind of like festering on it. And it was the same thing. Like Guy and I were talking about that recently with Dan Krantz, like DD Krantz, shout out, yo, like making our our beats and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the balance of like, okay, we can't like overly upset, like, but at the same time, don't just be like, cool, that's the one, if you really don't feel like it's good. Like there was one verse where I was like, nah, there's like a couple little things, or
Yeah, you can't just be like, okay, that's good enough, and just settle for something either. I think you have to truly be happy with what you've done, but then not be overly critical and just sort of
Yeah.
overanalyze it, overthink it, and then
We actually had
ruin a
that
bad thing
conversation like
almost.
with
Or a
Dan
good thing.
specifically. There's the same thing. It was like there'd be parts of a song where I'm like, yeah, this is not good enough. Like, and then Dan's like, well, he's like, well, I think it is, man. I really like it. Nah. And for me, like, yes, sometimes it can be, of course, self-criticism comes in when especially when it comes to your own music.
Yep.
But I've gotten to a certain point where it's like, nah, like I know that there's a certain standard that I want to be able to hear, and like I listen back to it and I'm like, fuck yeah, that's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on the same fucking, flip the coin, let's say, or whatever, on the other side of it is, yeah, that can be a fucking, standing at the end of a fucking cliff, because that can be a fucking like crazy rabbit hole, and you got to be careful because you can just go down that rabbit hole of like,
And you can have something really good and ruin it by going over and overthinking.
yeah. Like trying to overcompensate. Oh, I have to make it better.
Yeah.
And I'm probably like, I know this for a fact because you've told me this, but that kind of same thing happens with like even basic mixing or like editing music.
I'm glad. I was literally,
Yeah.
you just like, it's like you read my fucking mind. That's what I was thinking in my head. Yeah, legit. Like you get so far, I've had to literally scrap a mix, bro. Like I've literally like had to like be like, nah, I just like delete all the plugins and shit and start over, because I'm like, I literally ruined it. Like I don't know what I did. I don't know how far I got, but it's overly obsessing to the
Sort
point of like,
if you're painting,
yeah.
right? It's only so much paint you can put on that canvas. It's like
That's it.
It's not.
But there's a fine line.
You don't have every
You
like.
can't put 12.
Yeah.
There's a sweet spot, and you gotta be able to. I think with time, try different things. You look at it a different way. Try to develop that kind of like, try to find something that can give you, like I guess clues as to okay, I think this is close enough to the sweet spot that I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
another really interesting thing is for everyone. Everyone has different things they look for in songs or in music that makes them. Some people are more like rhythm driven. Some people are more melody. Some people are more lyrical. And
Yeah, like
just
we can
giving your
use Dylan versus Hendrix.
yeah, or just even just like in
That's a great comparison.
yeah, like,
For that.
yeah,
It's,
totally,
actually.
totally.
Yeah, it's like Hendrix is very much focused on like the vibe of the song, the guitar playing, like you know what I mean. But definitely lyricism. But then it's like Bob Dylan. It's like didn't even really like think too much of tone and like things
No,
like that.
no,
He was
he
just
was more
but
of like
the
a
writing
crazy
was so
poet,
yeah.
artist.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. By the
No,
way.
no, no, no.
But that's
Yeah,
actually where
poetry.
Hendrix got inspired was from Dylan, right? So
Yeah, that's true. And actually, fucking Hendrix inspired Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
But what I was gonna just to loop back to
Yeah, sorry.
everyone has different things that draws them into the music that makes it like really like a song or really like an album or an artist. But and really focusing on that one part that for you you're like trying to tweak it and you're obsessing over it.
Mm-hmm.
You might be missing the point of like maybe that for one person might be like that something that you think is really important. But you have to look at the big picture, like I think everything that's going on in that song. And have a balance between those and not focus on one particular aspect.
Yeah.
You know what?
And make the actual project itself, the song itself, the work globally be really worked well together.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I actually, you know what? That relates back to one of the songs that, like, and again, if Connor really wants to redo like kind of the main vocal, we'll do it obviously. But it was like we were all saying, he's like, I don't know if I like this one line, and we were all like, yeah, but it sounds so.
Yeah,
sick. And like I'm literally like I listen to this in my
exactly.
car and I fucking sing it, bro, like every word for word, and I love it. Like
the next question.
Well,
So,
Max,
yeah,
you and I are all like, oh, but that's like our
that's
favorite,
our favorite
line in the
fucking
song.
line. Yeah. And he's like, but it sounds legit lame. I'm like, no, it sounds cool.
Yeah, it totally does.
I mean, the next question though is how would you do that?
Take a step back. If you can, if you have time to, take a step back, sleep on it, listen to a bunch of other music,
Oh, okay.
come back and then listen to it again.
Nice.
Show it to people who you know have different tastes from you, and like different to your friends and give it a feedback.
Yeah.
Not taking anything like to heart either. You know, like any feedback is maybe not any feedback is good feedback, but you want to hear from lots of different points of view.
Yeah.
I think
Perspective.
for me, that's
For sure.
To hear what lots of different people say about, without showing every single person, just like getting super self-conscious. Like, what do you think about? What do you think? Like,
Yeah,
At one point, you have to just
Positive
decide for
criticism.
yourself. Yeah, but you have to
Yeah.
also just be like, this is it, not go
Exactly.
off what everyone else says, but to have that kind of feedback.
Is important.
For
think
sure.
it's very important.
It's good for perspective.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I was listening to like a Rick Rubin interview and he was talking about like that same thing. He's just like, make it for yourself as you're the audience. He's
Was
like,
it
if you
the
like
Lex
it, but
Friedman interview?
it might have been that one. Yeah, I only saw the excerpt.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
I wish I saw the whole
Lex
thing.
Friedman's dope, man. He has a really
Oh,
good
yeah.
content. Really interesting character. A lot to bring to the table.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
If it's that podcast or that episode,
I'll have to check it out.
incredible. So I listened to it 2-3. I listened to it this summer, but only part, and I remembered it a few days ago coming up to Ottawa on the train or on the anyway. And I was like, oh yeah, that was an awesome podcast. I went back and listened to it. So it's funny you bring that up. But if anyone who's watching this and has not watched Lex Friedman and Rick Rubin,
It's a good one.
it's worth the 2
Yo,
hours.
check it out. And actually, just while we're on the subject of perfection and stuff, speaking of perfection, this man over here, Ian, is a fucking culinary genius.
Oh yeah.
And
Shit,
just
how much
pointing
experience
out-
do you have
yeah.
in like the culinary industry?
Spent too much time doing it.
Yeah, just too much time. Yeah. Yeah.
Over a decade.
Yeah.
As
Well, we
we-
all have side hustles. I mean, we all
Yeah.
have like other things that we do. Is especially actually that's another aspect. I ask this question a lot because I'm just generally curious. How have you managed? You don't have to go into actually like where you worked or anything, but how have you managed working and being a musician on the side? Like, has that ever intertwined? Was it hard scheduling, or is it just something that's like
Honestly, kitchen work and being a musician,
to go hand in hand?
pretty good. I mean, not always. It depends how lenient your coworkers are about taking shifts or
Like any job,
how
I
scheduling
guess.
works, right?
Yeah.
But I think just if generally not everyone. For a long time, I was working at nights cooking.
Okay.
So I lived by night. So to go out and play a gig on a work night, or like up to work the next day, it's not a problem. Like I work at 5 p.m.
Yeah, because
I finish at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's
if
like
I have a
bar
gig,
shift.
so if I have a gig
Yeah.
at night, it's not like I get 3 hours of sleep, then I have to go to work the next morning, or or like.
So that
it's
was
for-
one positive you could say.
Yeah, definitely,
Okay.
definitely. And then also working in the industry, you get to know a lot of people in the industry who work in the bars, who work in in that sort of environment.
Mhm.
So it's great for networking and for marketing, marketing, I wouldn't say that, but for networking.
Yeah,
definitely.
networking. Yeah.
Getting to know the owners of the bars, the people that are performing,
That's
people
true.
who are active in the
The
industry
scene,
or
yeah.
just in the scene.
Popping
So
in.
I think I know there's so many there's something between those two professions, between cooking and music.
Really,
But
yeah.
there's a lot of crossover. I've known a lot of musicians and met a lot of great people and musicians just from working in the industry.
Yeah, and I
I've done kitchen work.
right. I think it's
Yeah.
understanding the grind and like also just working late, because I've been the same way. Like I've worked in kitchens when I was young and shit. Like
Yeah.
it's like you're going to like 12, 1 in the morning sometimes. Like fucking.
Oh yeah, yeah. But if you love it too, I mean, definitely has a special place in my heart. That it's not really a job. It's more of a passion than a job.
Yeah.
So it's like
I
when
mean-
you're making music, you could say.
Yeah,
Like it's like you feel like you're creating art. I mean, dude, like watching you
much
cook
more punch
is
in,
fucking,
punch out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
much more like you're on the clock and you're not. But yeah, very very much so. It's a work of love too.
Have you tapped into the
Nice.
market in terms of like music in Montreal at all? Like playing with
Well,
your
I-
band, or is it something that you're kind of like?
Well, no, that's something that I've started on. COVID definitely got in the way when everything was closed for
Yeah, well,
those
obviously,
few
yeah.
years. But now that everything is open again,
It's like on the.
there's relationships I've built while I'm there, while I've been there, and yeah, just so many really cool people. What I love about the scene there, I'm glad we're coming back to this because I want to say this too. Is I just find it so welcoming. The people in
Really?
the music scene in Montreal that I've met, like unbelievably welcoming, supportive,
No way.
encouraging. Just open, just like really like the
Because it's very much an
hospitality, the sense of
art-based city.
hospitality.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like whoever you are, whoever what you play, doesn't matter. It's like you do it, you like it, great. We can be close. You're a good person, That's also one of the criteria,
Fair enough.
But
It should be a more
yeah.
common criteria.
yeah, it
in
really
life.
should. But I think things are changing. But yeah, just go exploring venues, meeting bands. Yeah, you go to see one show, one person plays in the show, but then the night, 3 bands. Just like here, right? Just like anywhere, I think. But yeah, it's the closeness between the venues, the people that work in the venues, the bands, and even like not even just like I found there's not much of a barrier between styles too, where people in different styles will communicate and collaborate. And I think a lot of the what I found I've really appreciated is the mix of different mediums in art. So you can have a lot of visual art with the music performances,
Oh no way!
and
Like they have like actual like displays.
yeah, I don't know whether it's video or if it's like outfit. Like
I know
can
you
have
mean.
like crazy,
Like I've seen
crazy
people.
outfits. Like
That's sick.
Well, and I've seen people with like projectors. Like a lot more bands
Yeah.
and like artists are using projectors on stage. And I've
Yeah.
actually I saw one dude that was like doing like some crazy like looping stuff with like drum machine and like playing guitar. And he was actually doing like a projection on the back. And he said his friend had created the artwork.
Yeah.
That was like, and it was like a kind of just like moving picture, but it was like of these like cartoon like pills and like cool little, like it looked really like
it's
trippy and shit. Like,
bringing like VJing to like a live band kind of.
mhm.
Instead of just having a DJ and a video projection, it's really more dynamic. I think like
Yeah.
that too. But
And it's creating a synergy of the senses, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like giving you that kind of visual stimulation, like mix, especially when it's like on beat or it's like
yeah,
like kind
yeah,
of with the
completely.
music. That's awesome,
There's
man.
like places too, like the SAT, like the SAT. It's like the Science, Arts, and Technology Center. They do these crazy. Often it's like DJs, but they also have live performances, and it's this 360 dome, and they do crazy projections on the dome. And they'll have like a rave, or like sometimes they'll have like beanbag chairs, and everyone like lies down on their back on the ground, and
No way.
there's a band playing, and you have just all these crazy projections, fully immersed, sort of like 3D IMAX, but like next level.
Really?
And Yeah,
shit.
that's something I heard when you come down.
Yeah.
We should go. We
Fuck
should
yeah,
go
that
there.
sounds sick, man.
Yeah.
I have a question. So you're talking about COVID and how, how obviously COVID put a damper on everything, especially artists and stuff like that. Since COVID has kind of, quote unquote, gone back to normal, have you not necessarily taken an effort, but have you been going to see more shows? And also, question B being, do you feel like you kind of want to, is that something that you want to do more of kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know if I've actually been going to more shows.
I know
but
you've
I've
been to a couple for
definitely,
sure.
I have been going to shows, but I was always going to shows too.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I've been going to more shows, but I do make a very conscious effort to try to seek out local bands.
Yeah,
and,
local
or not
bands.
just local bands, but like anything I find interesting and
For sure.
trying to go out. Trying to meet people too, like more. Yeah.
Because I know I remember you telling me that you saw some bands, or you're like, oh, there's this cool band that I heard of, and I personally didn't know it at the time. I can't remember what the band name was. But what's the deciding factor for you when you're like, oh, this band, like I want to go see this band because of the style of music? How do you know what kind of music it is before you even go?
Often it's feedback from friends and people
Yep.
I know who. I try to surround myself there with people who go to a lot of shows and know the industry.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want to say industry, the scene. Sorry.
Yeah, scene industry. I
Yeah.
mean,
Little bit of
Yeah,
both.
but it's not the. I don't know how to talk about like the business. I'm talking more like the
scene.
the people, the culture, the community. The community is there.
Culture, that's a good word for it. Yeah.
So the people that are there that are going to the shows all the time, and there's a few people where I'm like, if they're going to that show, like I know it's going to be a good show,
Oh, I see.
and like 9 times out of 10 it is. 1 time out of 10 it's like not my style necessarily, and I still really appreciate the performance.
I think that's
but I'm
a
like,
super
it's
important
not necessarily
factor.
my style, but
Yeah.
you can appreciate the musicianship or like the
Yeah.
performance. you
Yeah,
know?
and the integrity they put behind their own music
Yeah,
and
and
that
I
kind of
think-
thing. Like,
So I think that's for me a big deciding factor is the integrity. Is it's hard to pinpoint that, but yeah, it's like I don't know. Someone's bands are doing. I mean, there's so much good music around. There's so many people playing that like you're never wasting your time going to a show. I think.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
learning something
Yeah.
from it. You're
Yeah.
taking something home.
I don't think
Absolutely,
I don't think I've ever
Just
been to
an
a show and
experience,
then
yeah.
walked away and been like, well, I wish I hadn't gone to that. That's never happened.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing because I've
I've been to a couple.
there's been
Maybe
times
like
where
one or two.
for sure, and it's not. It's rare. It's rare for sure. I can't think of a time, but I know that there's been a
it's.
time.
I think if
There's
it's
been at
happened
It's
least
to me,
probably
time
my
or
own
twice.
fucking band too. Like, just like,
I was
oh,
gonna
I
say-
botched that shit.
Yeah. Just show up.
I wish I hadn't gone to that
Dude,
one.
Yeah, I wish I would have fucking. I wish I
Man,
would have.
that sucked. It's like you were
I w-
playing, bro.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. So that's awesome, man. But that's cool. Yeah. So you got a show with us, ironically.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. We put in some work into it. Yeah, we're gonna do some promo on it. We're gonna share it. We're gonna spam it.
Spam it. Yo, listen up. Come to the show January 20th.
Live on Elgin.
That's personally something that like it's something that I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys have like an opinion on this, but it's something I noticed. Like or what I've heard is a lot of local, it's always like Facebook, social media, but then you see like big bands, and like none of them are making Facebook events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like by then they have like posters all around the city, and they'll be on like
Billboards.
I don't know, like in Montreal there'll be like billboards or like signs around the city, like big signs, like if there's gonna be this show happening.
Okay.
There's definitely a big marketing aspect behind it and like probably having like a team behind it. But at the same time, I feel like it's also like if you stand out as like a hella good artist, like a fucking, you know what I mean? Like somebody
people
really.
will know what you're playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like you'll be sold out anyway, even if you advertise
Yeah.
or not.
That's a hard level to reach, but
That
and you
is
need
hard
a
level
lot
to
of
reach,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
need a lot of marketing along the way. You need a lot of like not saturation, but you need to like put yourself out there and saturate the market with your face and your fucking posts and your, just to, and it's just consistency. Like even us with that, like we're not making tons of views, and actually like shout out to everyone who's watched it. Like our Socks in a Sauna video came out recently, but it's like we got a decent amount of views in like a short period of time, and I think it's because over time it's just we've accumulated more people like actually actively engaged and interested in what we're kind of posting, even if it's not at such a mass scale yet. It's like it's really cool to see it.
Well, we
Like,
have to. That's how you
progress.
build.
Yeah, it's just,
we hyped it
but
up.
we're working towards it, you know, and like
Yeah,
but
and
it
just-
takes time.
That's how you get your solid foundation, right? If people are like diehard, who
That's it. Yeah.
it's not a.
they'll support you no matter what kind of thing.
Yeah.
They just like love
Yeah.
the music. But just for the record, everybody who's listening on YouTube, and everybody who's listening audio wise, Socks in the Sauna, you know, it's our interpretation of, you know, like some trap music is good, and hip hop for me is just like, I love hip hop, you know, and but you know, there's the controversy of, you know, some trap, you know, not necessarily trap, but some like music in general gets taken too far into like the realm of like, you know, I guess it's I don't know, it's kind of like we're making fun of what happens if you take a trap song and you go to like next level and you just like, you know, you go too far. You know, I'll just say that because,
you know, like you just it's funny because I wrote lyrics recently based on this kind of thing. It's like it's a line I'm talking about poisoning the minds of the youth, and it's like it's when you're like taking away from the fact that it's like, oh, I'm trying to make hype trap music that's just like related to my fucking life and upbringing and stuff, and it's just kind of like pretty cool and banging. You're taking that and you're molding it into something that's just like, oh, I'm gonna cookie cutter this shit and be the same as all these other fucking like, you know, super famous guys and kind of like project a fake lifestyle. But it's like, I feel like a lot of it just keeps people like stuck in place, you know what I mean? And
money,
like it's like
bitches, Lambo.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, all
over
this
excessively
shit.
talking about
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
cool to like mention your success in your music, but like even Logic says that he's like, yeah, there's a time and a place, but if you ain't come up with the illest of raps, like saying you're the greatest alive or whatever in your music, he's like, if you ain't come up with it, he's like, there's a time and a place for like flexing on the fucking lifestyle you live and how cool it is, but it's like there's also like you got to be humble and like know that your art is real and that kind of shit. So yeah, I agree. Like that's the kind of shit
where
we're
I was
making fun
going
of.
with
Like,
it.
fucking, yeah, because it's like that kind of shit to me feels like just like a money grab. Like it just feels like oh yo, just make like the kids like fucking think alcohol and lean is cool and like partying and shit and like
in a weird way it's like an homage to that, like to the irony of like how stupid in a way that fucking that's what you're trying to like give to society,
right?
You know what I mean? Like
it's true. And people told me the song goes hard. Like they're like, oh, that fucking song goes hard. And I'm like, bro, I'm talking about songs.
We're gonna tag the song. We're gonna tag the link,
which is great,
in the description, and you guys can tell us if the song doesn't go hard. But it, like we produced it ourselves. It's pretty catchy. Like it's hilarious. It's funny as fuck. We just slapped a shit ton of auto tune on our voices, and that's what it is.
It's a funny little skit at the beginning.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. The video too, very well done.
Yeah, the video we just started doing it ourselves. Like we're not like pro or anything, but yeah, Dan Krantz. I mean, his acting that he's done through Toronto and LA, you know, the experience that he brought home, you know, with that for camera angle wise, all this stuff.
I was gonna say good directing ability.
Yeah, he definitely has the experience. It's been paying off. So
that's actually an important lesson for anyone, like just people. Well, not a lesson, but like just thing that you can take away from it. That like you know, a lot of times our pride gets in the way, and we're trying to do shit, and we're always trying to be like, oh fuck, like my ideas, you know, on top. But it's like, it was cool to step back from a humble perspective and be like, okay, Dan should be telling me, like he knew what he was talking about, and it's like he should be like, I should be taking direction from someone, you know, and I should just like get in the acting mode and like get into the rapping mode and like have someone actually dictate like and kind of put it into line for me. It's like having a calendar almost, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it just puts it like not but like
it's like having a calendar.
Yeah, manager, it's like someone puts you in line and you're like, oh shit, like, but you know, because like when you start doing things, I mean I'm like this a little bit. It's like I'll be like, oh no, I know what I'm doing, you know, and then you get a little cocky. And I'm like, no, it's cool to have someone like tell you what's up, you know, and then you focus on your part of it.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is important. It's like, yeah, you got to be able to like separate yourself, be humble, remind yourself like, oh, it's actually not about me. Like this is about the overall of like the video
bigger
shoot.
picture,
yeah,
100%.
the bigger picture. You know,
Same with the song earlier, right? Like
exactly.
That's why I just did that.
Comes full circle.
Exactly, man, exactly.
Full circle. Yeah, it's like the fucking song.
I was just gonna say, it doesn't just apply to songs and it's anything in life. It's the big picture of what you're doing,
dude.
Not just your role. Your role's important, but it's part of something.
It's about the layers.
Yeah, like onions.
Like an onion.
Exactly.
Like parfaits, man. Yo, speaking of, it was just funny because you guys said full circle, and I was like, speaking of full circle, holes represents a circle. It was a stupid lead-in, but whatever. Kayo-Tea, our sponsor. We got tea from Kayo-Tea. Metigaman Agriculture. Shout out to our homie Kayo-Tea for hooking us up with more. We got the Breathing Hole blend, which is based off of a play called The Breathing Hole. And it's his Labrador tea, silver mint, balsam fir, and spruce tip. So this one's very much like a Christmassy sort of, you know, piney, get you going. And then we got the Self-Reflection tea, which is
it's a custom. It's custom.
Yeah, it is a custom one. Yeah,
Custom
actually,
one.
yes, the blends are custom. He creates them. He actually he's gone into it. It's cool. He'll test it on his family and friends and try different blends of stuff, and they'll be like, yeah, that's sick. And he's like, perfect. I'll make that. Mark it down as a blend. And this one is the I don't really I can't remember exactly what Regional Archive was, but I know it was related to an art format or something, and then he was giving these away as gifts. But it's the Self-Reflection tea. This one's honestly awesome, and it's a really good kind of help you sleep at night tea.
Seeded on Algonquin territory.
That's it.
All natural.
Yeah,
organic.
But we'll link.
It's actually really good. The Self-Reflection. It's actually ridiculous. It's probably it has actual catnip in there, which is really really cool.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That's super cool.
Catnip, balsam fir, mint, and lemon balm. This one to me smells like a Christmas wreath, like a sweet, almost but hint of cinnamon. It's weird. I don't know. There's no cinnamon in it. But.
So yeah, we're gonna leave a description for the Kayo-Tea link if you guys want to order.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this is not international. This is only gonna be national, exclusive to Canada. So yeah, we're gonna be leaving that in the description. I just want to ask another question, Ian. Actually, something that's on my mind. I've only have minimal experience. Obviously, personally, I have a little bit of experience with tree planting, and I know there's always a collective of musicians. For some reason, the dirtiest of the fucking tree planters. There's always some good musicians and stuff like that. So I don't know. Give a as much as you're willing to go into detail, because I know tree planters can get wild. Wow, people like to party, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Tree planters are...
Honestly, I can't speak for every camp in the world.
Yeah.
But the camp we were at was very, very respectable.
Okay.
We like to party, but very, very solid individuals. A lot of respect for all those people. The amazing people I met there. And music, too, it's sort of hand in hand.
Yeah.
Not everyone plays music, but...
A lot of them do, though.
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
And, I mean... There's almost nothing more welcome to than you're out in the bush.
And there's
music nothing around you.
Yeah.
So actually, the last 2 years we had drum kits.
That's what I was gonna
multiple
say.
guitars.
Kayo-Tea had drum kits and shit.
Yeah, people left the
That's
drum kits
sweet.
in the bush over the winter, and just came back the next year, and we're like, oh, it's up that road. So just take the truck up
That's
the
amazing.
road, find the drum kit in the woods.
I don't know if
probably
that's
so warped.
Oh.
It was fine, man. I mean, fine. It's
a
bush,
beater.
It's
It's
a
a
bush
beater.
kit, right?
It's a bush kit, yes.
It still works.
I don't even know if that terminology ever existed
Dude, we
until
had
now.
two drum. We had two drum kits last season. It's great, and I think the first 2 weeks they're under a tarp, and then after that, no more tarp. It just rained on every day.
Wow, that ruins the drum.
I don't know if it was the same year you guys went, if you went together or whatever with Kayo-Tea, but I saw a picture of him, and I'm pretty sure this is when he was out there tree planting, but it was he was doing the drum kit on top of a hill through a fucking metal tube, a big giant metal
like a
tube
culvert
thing.
kind of.
Yeah, and he was I guess he was just trying to make a projector or whatever, but I don't remember the details of that story, but it's just he showed me a picture of it.
So
he's just fucking on a mountain with a kit, and he just had this big tube in front of it.
Yo,
So
actually, he told me
cool.
a story about that. I think from what I remember, it was fucking the kit was it's on you said a skit?
It was
higher
in
up.
front of almost it was on a mountaintop.
In a
It might have
tent?
been on a skid or something,
Or a
on
tent
a
or
flat-
something?
Yeah, and it was in front of a big metal tube.
I'm pretty fucking sure he told me a story. And Kayo-Tea is the same guy who makes the tea, by the way, for anyone who's listening. Anyway, and he I think it was something gross, 6:30 a.m. He just started.
Oh,
fucking,
that's it. That's it. No, he did it for a
Okay,
wake-up call.
yeah, he
You're
did it for a
right.
wake-up call.
And it was a
Just
fucking
started-
big metal tube just projecting this drum.
Yeah, they put a tube in front of it, and he just started or some crazy beat, and it just starts waking up the whole camp. Man, I can only imagine how much fucking pissed off people would be, man.
But man, we had last year we had there was an accordion in camp. There was an electric keyboard.
These were different camps?
No, same camp,
Okay.
but accordion, electric guitar, electric keyboard, 2 drum kits, multiple acoustic guitars.
Oh.
I feel like someone had a trumpet or something, but it never really got played because No one really knows how to play the trumpet.
Yeah.
There was Fred who was there. He was downstairs right now. He plays saxophone, so it's not the same.
Hey.
Did you have like a couple opportunities to jam and
Oh
play?
yeah, did jamming all the time.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Okay.
'cause there's still people to jam with here. That
Oh no way.
yeah,
Oh, that's sick.
yeah, oh yeah. All the spare time is always
Just play music or
yeah.
being surrounded by it.
Oh yeah, and, you know the sort of classic kumbaya around the bonfire. We're not really saying kumbaya, you know, but
What is
bonfire, music, all goes together.
It's a vibe, man.
what would you say that the future looks like for Ian / the Gravelines?
Prosperous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Good word,
Prosperous
man.
is pretty
Yeah,
good.
prosperous, yeah. Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Manifest
to
your
come.
shit, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, personally, I've been able to take a lot more time and put it towards, honing my craft,
Okay.
playing a lot more music, and allowed mostly that time because of tree planting. And yeah, I was taking a lot more time just off, not working as much for the fall winter period. And I mean, I spent like 11 or 12 years just like always working, like I was
Yeah, you're a fucking
just
like,
always
you're a
working.
fucking beast, man.
And
Like,
yeah, but it's not good, It's I sort
Well,
of realized that like
you had a
it-
really good like
I need a
work
balance.
ethic. but
Yeah,
it's like,
but you need a balance in life, I think.
That's it.
I've just
I
learned
think
that
you're-
recently.
Yeah.
You want
yeah,
to
that was
talk
something-
balance? So what were you gonna say first?
Oh, I was just gonna
lead
say
to
like
something else.
it's just the way that I see it is just especially for me back in the day. Like I feel like there's a point in my life, especially in like I went to college, and when I went to college, I buckled down hard. Didn't even fucking like party that much on weekends. Let's say, I was really like I would even smoke. Like I used to smoke weed back in the day. I don't smoke weed anymore, but back in the day, I used to smoke weed. And like I would even like not. I would keep smoking weed to a minimal. Like it was for that 2 years. I really, I went to college. I'm doing college. I'm gonna fuck it, and that was great.
Yeah, that's your goal.
And then I
it's your
finished.
job.
Yeah, I had like a really good, clear mind of like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then after that, I kind of like let loose again. It felt like I was like almost out of high school again, where I was
Yeah.
like, "Ah,"
Freedom.
and you know what I mean? And I was like 22,
about-
23.
It's all about balance.
You know what I mean? Having fun. And then like that trailed on a little too long for me. Like you could say that, but how can you really know? Because maybe if you didn't do the kind of shit that you did, you wouldn't be where you are today.
That's
Yeah.
it.
What would you give in terms of advice? Some solid, concrete advice. It could be based off life experience. Some concrete, solid advice for anybody who's listening, who essentially wants to, maybe they're afraid if it could be going to an open mic, or if it can. Maybe they love music and they just don't know how to go about it.
I mean, just do it. just do it. Easier said than done, of course, but worst case, it sucks. And you try again, and it's not gonna be any worse. It's gonna get better and better. And I think like the current environment, or like maybe always, just the more music, the better. It can be easy to see like criticism online and stuff like that, but really, like, I think it's just a lot of people are trying to do the same thing, trying to support each other through it, and yeah, just go to an open mic, or even just go and listen, build the courage, go play one song, or
And then,
Yeah.
and then maybe moving a bit away from that, just broader into the arts. What would be your life advice, that your final words that you'd like to convey?
final words. That's shit, man.
Ian on the mic.
Make time, man.
I don't know, just trust. I'm gonna say trust the process. I feel like I can't say anything that's not cheesy in saying it.
I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean,
I
but
can
just
appreciate trust the process.
No,
though.
explore and find what makes you tick, what you truly like, and that is what you should follow. And if it doesn't, I don't know, like emotional level for you, then just follow it. Try to find more of it.
yeah,
Try to find other people who are like-minded. Try to
seek it out.
seek it out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just keep your eyes open. Keep your
Fuck
ears
yeah.
on the ground. Like,
100%.
I love that because I was watching a Jim Carrey speech where he talks about his father like giving up on comedy, and he says like he's like it showed me that he did a 9 to 5 or whatever and settled, and it's like he ends up getting fired, and he's like
That's
Yeah.
why I ended up homeless, right?
Yeah, and it's like Jim Carrey said, like, just to quickly sum it up, but like he's like, it showed me you could fail at what you don't want.
Yeah.
So it's like, why spend your time not doing something you love? Even
Yeah.
if you fail at it, it's like at least you're trying to achieve that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen a lot of happy people. I've seen a lot of unhappy people, and honestly, the difference isn't being successful or not. It's just doing something you like doing.
Yeah.
If you're spending your time doing something you don't want to do, not to say that like to that extreme either. It's more just if you can fill your day with 1 more hour of something that you really enjoy.
It makes all the difference.
Yeah, that's
Fuck yeah.
fuck yeah, man.
Ian Boushel.
Thank you very much, guys.
I said that correctly?
Yeah,
Good,
Ian-
good.
Thanks for coming on, man. Honestly,
You did.
Ian Boushel. There you
this
go.
was a press.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Everybody who's listening on YouTube, you know what? Like our shit. Don't like our shit. We're still going to be here.
Yeah,
But
damn right.
hit subscribe, support.
That's it.
And we love you all. Actually, happy holidays because it is the holiday season. So
Merry Christmas
for
to
what it's
all.
worth, Merry Crimbus.
Yeah. Stay safe out there, yo.
Peace and love. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.